Let me ask you a question. Let's say you've got 10 days to take a driving vacation, and you are located, we'll say, in Charlotte, North Carolina, and you've decided that you're going to really make the most of the days you have. Now, you've got 10 days, so you're going to have to drive from where you are to where you're going. You're going to have some intermediate stops. Maybe you're going to take a history tour, so you're going to go up through Philadelphia and Washington and New York State, see the Battle of Saratoga, see the Valley Forge encampment, go to Gettysburg. Who knows? Maybe you want to just go to a theme park. Well, where do you go for theme parks? If you're on the East Coast, you go to Florida because you got Universal, you got Disney World, you've got all sorts of things down there. So, but wherever you're going, you want to make the most of it. You've only got 10 days. You've been saving up for this vacation for 2 years. And everybody's excited that's going with you. So, question, do you consult a map before you lay out your vacation? Or do you just get on I-95 and go to Florida? Well, if you want to make the most of it, you're going to break out a map. Sure, you're going to use Google Maps once you start, but you're going to go ahead and look, okay, let's see, if I start here, ooh, look what's in between me and Florida. I want to see where this Civil War battle took place. Or I want to go to the coast. I want to play golf at one of the big golf resorts. You know you're going to lay it out, right? I mean, who would start a vacation without it? And you know you've only got 10 days, so you've got to allocate those 10 days to where you're going to spend X number of days to get to where you're going. You're going to spend X number of days once you get there, and then you're going to spend X number of days coming back. This is a well thought out plan. You wouldn't even begin to embark on a 10-day vacation without consulting a map, without a plan, without figuring out your intermediate stops, without really knowing how far you're going to drive each day and what's at the end of each drive and what are you going to enjoy. You're going to look at the bed and breakfast or the hotels or motels along the way if you don't have your own camper or travel trailer. But you're going to lay things out. And that's for a vacation, right? What about your life? What about your career path? What about your relationships that are so special to you? You just going to be a drifter and go with the flow? No. What we're going to learn through this session and the next session is a process that I call vision mapping. Solomon said in the Proverbs, without a vision, the people will perish. Having a vision to accomplish something is so critical that without it, you die. So if you don't have a vision for your marriage, chances are sooner or later it's going to die. It's certainly not going to be as joyful and as successful and fulfilling as you want it to be. It will not be that way if you don't have a vision for it. Same thing about a job. You currently work for somebody. Do you just want to work for them the rest of your life? That's fine if that's what you want, but what do you want to accomplish on that job? Or is that job just a stepping stone in a long-term career? See, those are things that you need to know, but you don't know them if you don't have a vision. So everything has to start with a vision. When Solomon said, without a vision, the people perish, we can apply that to anything. We can apply it to a career. Without a vision, your career dies. Without a vision, your relationship with your children dies. Without a vision, the people perish. But when you look at the book of Proverbs and you start learning all these amazing things, I know because Proverbs changed my life, usually any principle or law that's revealed in Proverbs, the converse is just as true. So without a vision, the people perish, but let's look at the converse. With a vision comes new life. And that's what we so desire most of the time. We want to bring new life into our heart, into our relationships, into our job, into our career, into projects. So with a vision comes new life. So The first thing that we're going to ask you to do in this mentoring program as it relates to your vision is to get a notebook, and it's going to be called your Vision Mapping Journal. And the first thing you're going to do, the first step, is define the areas of life that are most important to you. So for me, that would be my relationship with God would be number one. Why? Because I'm 72. Eternity is important to me, and I want my life to count for eternity. And so my relationship with God is really an important area, and I've neglected it so often. So it's important that I vision map this area, and I'm starting to do that. So you'd think I would have done it before. I really didn't. Okay, number two is, for me, is my relationship with my wife. And for a long time, we kind of just approached it like drifters. We've gone with the flow. And that's had horrible consequences. We've made terrible mistakes. I've made huge mistakes that should have destroyed my marriage. I crashed and burned on the bank of the Mississippi in this area because I didn't have a vision. Then there's my relationship with my children. My children are incredibly important to me, and I want to be the kind of parent that they need, that they want, and that God wants me to be. So I've got to gain a vision for that. My work, we have 2 new companies that I've started in the last 3 years, and I want both of those companies to have extraordinary success. Why? Because they're bringing products to the world that are life-changing, that truly will change a person's health and their productivity, and everything about their life is affected by what we have, because we have a technological and scientific breakthrough in the areas of skincare, in the areas of health supplements, and I want to make sure that those get out to the whole world, not just the developed world, but to the third world. We can be a life and death difference. So it's important that I vision map where our company's going and how we're going to get there. And that the people that are partnering with me, because I've got key people that I depend on, that are, for all practical purposes, they're my partners, I want to vision map each of their areas as well. So with vision mapping, the first thing you do is you define the important areas where you want to see improvement, extraordinary improvement. Now, you don't vision map everything. You vision map those things that are important to you, because it's a process and it takes a little time. If you tried to vision map every little thing, you'd never do anything because you'd spend all your time vision mapping. So we're going to only vision map those areas, those projects that are important to me. Now, when I was in television production, I was in television production for 35 years, and I would vision map each new project. Because why? Number one, I had to write scripts. Number two, we had to find locations, stages, we had to cast, we had to crew for those production days. Then once we went ahead and shot the production, we had to do the post-production, the editing, and so on. Well, to do all that, you could take 18 months like a movie takes and get one movie. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go beginning to end in 2 weeks. And to do that, to be able to do that kind of accelerated production, I had to map it out. So I did this for every project, almost every project that I ever did in Hollywood. And consequently, we were far more productive than any of our competitors. In fact, by Forbes' definition, our little company, 8 years in a row, was the single most productive company in the United States. So vision mapping works. And so number one, the first thing you do is define the areas. Number two, the second thing you do is you lay out what you want to achieve. That becomes your dream. So let's take the area of God, because that's an area that's critically important to me. My dream with God is that I know Him, God the Father, and know His Son, intimately. I don't want to just know about them. I want to partner with them. I want God to be my very best friend in life. I want Jesus Christ. I want to have a daily fellowship with him where I can hear his whispers. He said, what I whisper in your ear, shout from the rooftop. So I want to hear those whispers. And that takes intimacy. And so that becomes my primary dream in my relationship with God, is gaining intimacy with Christ and with God the Father. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. Now, you start by listing the most important areas of your life. Then you prioritize that list. So for you, maybe your career is the most important thing in your life. So that jumps up to number one. Maybe God's not even on your list. Maybe a relationship or a marriage is not on your list. Maybe it's number three right now. What do you want it to be? Do you want it to be number one? Okay, so you list the most important areas of your life. Then you prioritize that list. And then we're going to help you in our next session actually build a vision mapping journal and show you how to do that. You're going to